So what are some of the positive effects
Yeah, I was
that you
gonna
that,
ask that.
that you've yeah
Yeah.
that you can say that you've I guess you've experienced since becoming a vegan?
So I was never a huge coffee drinker, but there were times when I felt like I had to.
Hmm.
Like I needed coffee pretty much every day to function. And when it was like stress, like I remember I got a new high pressure marketing job and training was brutal. And so I was drinking coffee every single day just to be able to stay awake and take that. So one of the initial things was having more energy. Um,
Okay,
you
I
know,
need
not
that.
like I could have a green smoothie in the morning and that would be enough for me. Um, I lost weight. I lost 25 pounds when the first time I initially went vegan. And
And that was just strictly changing your diet alone, like it was no
it
extra
was strictly changing my
exercising.
diet
I
alone.
was
Wow,
just about
that's
to ask that.
crazy.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that.
So now when I hit 30, the weight seemed to stay on. So I do exercise now. Especially since I consider myself a junk food vegan anyways. So you do have to eat right, to be able to not exercise. But I've seen so many posts on social media of people, really obese people trying just veganism for 30 days and losing weight without dying because weight loss really starts in the kitchen. It doesn't start in the
Hmm.
gym, it starts in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I did benefit from weight loss and having more energy. Um,
Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey, what's going on, family? My name is Tyler,
It's Daryl checking in with you.
and this is Uncharted Mind, right? The podcast where we speak life, health, and wealth. Man, today we got a dope one for y'all. We met this young lady in one of those rooms that we talk about so much, right? Like, um, she's a pioneer in her own way in her own field. She's a vegan. She's vegan, which is a topic we've been itching, scratching and clawing to kind of
We
get more
been
info on, man.
yeah, we've been trying to touch on it for a while. We finally got somebody to come bless us with the experience and the knowledge, man.
Definitely, definitely, man. So, without further ado, man, we're gonna go ahead and introduce to y'all Miss Angela. Miss Angela, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
All
Doing
right.
pretty good. Can't complain. I can't complain. Listen, this interview is happening post Christmas. So, how was your Christmas?
It was nice. Just stayed at home, made a big vegan breakfast and then a nice vegan dinner. I had my
Mm.
son's best friend's family over and we just played games and watched Christmas movies.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit, man. Because what does a vegan breakfast and dinner entail? Like
Yeah.
what were the, you know what I mean? What were the dishes?
So definitely grits. I love grits with
Love
earth
that.
balanced vegan butter and pink
Okay.
Himalayan salt. I make just egg. If you have never had just egg, you're missing out. You usually can
Never had
find it
that.
at King Supers, Whole Foods, Sprouts, in like the egg section.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's like in a yellow liquid. It's a liquid container, and you
Hmm.
can make omelets with it, quiche, regular scrambled eggs. And so I made spinach, garlic, and onion eggs with some smoked paprika in there as well. That was
Okay.
delicious. We had vegan muffins, croissants from Whole Foods. We had I always get the pronunciation of this word, caricature board, crudite board, something like that. It was a nice board
Gotcha.
of vegan meat and
Hmm.
fruits and cheese, vegan cheeses. It was a nice spread. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, I made red velvet pancake or waffles, red velvet waffles. So
Mm, that
yeah.
Dope.
sounds
My
good.
favorite. I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so it was very hearty, and then I basically had 20 minutes to digest that before I had to turn around and clean the kitchen and then prepare for
Start prepping.
dinner,
Yeah.
which I made a vegan lasagna, homemade garlic bread, because a lot of the garlic breads out there in stores contain milk or dairy-based butter products. And so I made homemade garlic bread, green beans, and red skin potatoes.
Mm,
Mm.
okay. Hey,
That
that
sounds
sounds like something I
amazing.
can
I
get
ain't gonna
down with.
lie. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll start off is, how did your vegan journey begin? Like what pushed you to the lifestyle, and what inspired you, to stick with it? And you can give
Yes.
us, a summary of like how long you it's been since you transitioned and everything.
Yeah, the original journey started in 2012. growing up, I never heard the word vegan. You were either a meat eater or a vegetarian. I didn't even know anything about veganism.
Mhm.
But I knew that, like, I would put milk in my cereal and I would get instantly nauseous. And sometimes I would throw up when I would eat milk in my cereal. So I knew it just wasn't really made for my body. And then I met someone. I had left the church, the Christian church, around that time. And just because of some of the rules there, and I was chastised for what I would wear, and it just seemed like there was a lot of gossip. So I just had left the church, but not the faith. And I met a guy who kind of introduced me to Christianity outside of, the church. And he was a raw vegan, and he would tell me about, the health benefits of eating raw vegan and how it keeps your mind clear. And he was big on fasting, and because I was kind of falling for him, I went straight into it. Like, I got rid of everything in my cabinets that was not vegan, that was processed, and I just went there with him. Kind of turns out he had multiple girls that he was talking to and trying to build this I don't know, a bunch of sheep to follow him, if you will. So, we broke up, of course. And at that time, I was just angry. And I felt like I kind of completely changed my life for this guy. So I went back as just to defy him or to spite him. I went back to eating meat for a period of time. And then when I was raw vegan, I lost 25 pounds. So the weight started coming back on. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he was on to something. And maybe there's benefits to that for me if I do it for me and not for anyone else. And so during that time, like, we broke up, probably stopped talking like 2013. And from 2013 to 18, I was pretty much 80% vegan. And that's what I was cooking. But I would kind of bend if my husband invited me to a work event, to someone's home, and they were serving maybe something with milk in it. Or if I had my in-laws over, I wanted to provide food for them. My husband and my son are not vegan. So, I was still cooking it. But then I started following more pages, vegan pages about animal cruelty, and realizing that, plant-based is for diet, but veganism is for the animals. And if you're going to be a true vegan, then you have to put the animals first and realize that anything that comes from them, their body, is basically exploiting them. And so just not turning away from what happens in a slaughterhouse, what happens in these major factory farms, what happens in the ocean, and just forcing myself to look at all of it, even how disturbing and disgusting it is. That's what made me say, okay, you know what, I need to be completely vegan. I'm not going to bend to anyone. This is what I'm going to cook. If you want something else, then you have to buy it and make it. And so in 2018, 19, that's when I said, okay, I'm going to be strict, and I'm not bending in any ways.
That's dope.
That's a whole
I ain't
lot to
gonna lie.
digest. Yeah.
It is. And it kind of made me feel like what I'm doing.
I'm kind of a bad person, man. Cause look, I'm still gonna eat that steak, but it's like
exactly. So okay, go ahead.
I will say to that question, I didn't become vegan because the taste of meat, I didn't like it. Now, I have went back and during that time and maybe tasted something I hadn't had in a while, and it made me vomit, but I didn't change because I didn't like the taste. And I think if our society hadn't completely bastardized the exploitation of animals on such a large scale, I probably wouldn't be vegan. But I need to advocate because it's just become so perverted. And I feel like in the year 3000, they're going to look back on what we did and call us barbarics, basically. Billions of turkeys had to die over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and during time we're supposed to be grateful for life and celebrating life. So it's been completely just exploited and bastardized, for lack of a better word, on such a large scale that it's all about supply and demand, and it's where you put your dollars. So if vegans can continue to advocate for vegan options and plant-based options, it's all about money. We're exploiting and killing animals and sentient beings that have feelings, that cry, that want to care for their children or their babies and their children on such a large scale because of money. So it's where you put your dollars, basically. So even if you do like steak, if you could take some time to say, okay, on this week, I'm going to maybe not spend the money on steak, but actually spend money on things that are labeled vegan, it just changes and it slows that down basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into that word a little bit more
Yeah.
because when people hear vegan, like you said, and I was one of those people at one point in time. We always think vegetarian. You know what I mean? But vegans, it's more than just being or not eating meat.
Right.
It's like
It's
you
like a
said earlier.
mentality, like a mind state in it. Yeah.
It's a mind state, it's a mentality, but it's also saying that hey, if any harm uh from an animal came from this product, I stay away from it, right?
Yeah, so we're talking skincare products, we're talking shoes, clothing, belts. When we think plant-based, that's literally just what you're eating. When you're
Hmm.
talking about veganism, you're talking about the wool off of a sheep's skin, being cut. It's everything. So it's something that you definitely have to be all in. You have to go to like the PETA websites and join vegan groups where you're constantly asking, is this vegan? Because being vegan doesn't mean you know everything, and sometimes you can't really clearly find the source of something. So there are times when we have to say, okay, I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna buy those shoes, or I'm not gonna buy that purse because I'm not sure. So it's everything, everything.
Mhm. I
That's
didn't even
dope.
think about it from that angle, like, even beyond, what we eat. It's like, we use animals for a lot of different products. So how difficult is that to maintain that lifestyle, knowing that, we have so many day-to-day products that come from
Mhm.
animals, you get what I'm saying? And how much like research, that you have to do to make sure what you're buying isn't, you know, sponsored from, the animals, you get what I'm saying? Like
It's extremely difficult. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I do rely on a lot of these vegan Facebook groups, that I can do a quick search for something, or I could post or read somebody else's post to see, because we even use insects. We use the secretions that come out of insects in sprinkles. It's really like down there. So
it's crazy.
we use animals, we use insects, so it is hard to know, and I've made mistakes. I've had something that I didn't realize wasn't vegan, and then I found out later. So for me, sometimes I see it like veganism is like a marriage. You're married to it, but you may make a mistake. Something might happen in that marriage that really tested or is not good for that marriage. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you are still married. And so you
Mhm.
have to kind of continue to renew that commitment to veganism and realize that you're not going to be perfect, because we live in an animal exploited society.
Mhm.
And it's so deep on so many levels. So we have to realize that vegans are not the majority currently. And so we have to give ourselves grace, because some people say, oh, your phone's not vegan, or, that car is not vegan. So it really gets down there, and it's like, so is that you telling me that the phone's not vegan? Is that what makes you feel better about what you're doing? Like, the shaming is real, and sometimes the shaming comes from meat eaters, but also it comes from vegans. The vegans that really put in the time and the energy and all the effort to make sure that they are 1,000% vegan. Sometimes they can be the most judgmental, but sometimes I give it, say, you have that right. Like, you have put in all the work. Like, educate us, let us know. And if you want to, feel high and mighty for that, that's your choice. I'm not knocking you.
Yeah.
Nobody can necessarily make me feel bad. A vegan or a non-vegan can make me feel bad about my personal journey, because I know what my purpose is and I'm doing my best, and that's all I can do.
Mhm.
Yeah. And see, that's I think you get more productivity, or I feel like you be able to push your agenda a little bit more if you were
More
able to,
gracious, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Yeah.
more gracious, more
Mhm.
able to, be more willing to teach,
Mhm.
from that 1,000% vegan standpoint versus chastising someone for where they may lack. You know what I mean? So, I think that's something that for any vegan, any of our vegan listeners out here, man, I think that's something, if you are one of those people who like to judge others,
Mhm.
despite them continuously trying to, become a more, is it raw? You said raw vegan, right? Is that like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to vegan? Just
For
raw?
me, no. For me, I'm a junk
Okay.
food vegan. I will say that. And for me
Okay.
personally, I don't see raw vegan it's just another type of veganism for me.
Okay.
It's not there's not a pyramid of vegans where the raw vegan is at the highest. Is a raw
Okay.
vegan the healthiest? Maybe sometimes yes. There is still you know, you still need to have a balanced diet basically and incorporate certain things. And so even a raw vegan can get it wrong
So what is a raw vegan then? Explain
where
that then.
they only eat, you know, plants in their natural state. They're not going to cook vegetables. They're not going to saute. They're not going to
Oh,
use a microwave. They're not going to use an oven.
oh
They're not going
wow.
to add heat to vegetables, and they're not going to eat. You know, they're just going to eat vegan. So it's nuts, it's legumes, it's vegetables, it's fruit, it's everything in its natural state, uncooked.
Mm.
Wow.
That's a lot of commitment, man.
See,
Especially
that
the day and
is.
age we live in now, where everything is microwave. 30 seconds.
I'm telling
Well,
you.
but I guess if you're eating it in its raw stage, then I don't know, maybe it's easier. But it's but then you got to worry about it perishing quicker. I believe if it's not packaged. So.
One of the things they you know, I was born and raised Christian. I no longer identify with Christianity, but I can still take some things from there. I can take things from lots of different religions. And one thing I learned in the denomination I was in is about, you know, I'm a foodie. I personally love going out to restaurants. I love cooking things. I love hosting dinner parties and all of that. But there is a joy and a peace when you don't spend as much time in the kitchen because they say if you know that time can be used to do other things and to further your mind and stuff like that. Because once you are in the kitchen, I can tell you, being a baker, you know, cooking for the family, I'm in the kitchen a lot. It's just a lot. I can spend almost a whole day in the kitchen sometimes. So there is a joy that I can appreciate about raw vegans where you know, they have more time to meditate, more time to build relationships, more time to focus on whatever their purposes are without having to spend so much time in the kitchen cooking and cleaning and all of that. So I definitely appreciate it. I'm inspired by that.
Mhm.
Is it something that is on my path in the near future? I can say no, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You honest. You honest.
Yeah.
That's that. And that's what we ask, man.
Oh,
Listen,
God.
where exactly are you from?
I'm
Because
from Grand Rapids, Michigan, so it's about two
okay,
hours from Detroit. That my husband's from Detroit. We met in college,
okay,
and I spent
good
born
fella,
and
man.
raised
Shout out to
27
him.
years in Michigan.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
okay. Shout
So
out to
a
Michigan.
point I want to dig into real quick that you mentioned. So how, because I know veganism is consistently being broadened out. It's being more accepted.
Mhm.
But still, I know there's like a huge lack of options or restaurants. Well, at least in my area, I'm down south, so we all about our fried chicken out here. So,
Yeah, I'm telling you,
but
sweet tea.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's kind of the same, nationwide. So, how difficult is it to, let's say you go out to eat with your family, and I know it's some restaurants offer like vegan options, and there may be a few restaurants that are completely vegan, but how difficult is that to like go out with your family, and eat when y'all gotta pick a spot to eat at, and you got your different options to choose from? Or if you go to, a normal restaurant, how do you substitute, your meals out to make it a vegan meal? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So 90% of the time, it is easy for me to go out and eat with my family and eat vegan. I like to say one of my, I guess my tagline is I want for nothing. Like once you cross over and you really dive into it and you scope out what's out there and you learn how to cook at home, I want for nothing. There's always a substitute. I can have a vegan donut, I can have a vegan burger, I can have vegan pizza, you know. What's funny is that sometimes I actually eat healthier when I go out to restaurants because there are times when vegetables are the only thing that I can eat. Like I went to
Mhm.
a bachelorette party and we had a brunch the morning after and we went to this nice restaurant and they really didn't have vegan options, so the chef created something for me. He sauteed um this certain type of broccoli that's a little bit longer and what else, you had peppers and spinach and potatoes, and it was healthy and
Mm,
it was delicious, it was flavored really well. So sometimes I do eat out healthier than I do make at home.
Mm.
But those times when I do go to like we went to SDK here in Denver downtown. It's a steakhouse,
Mhm.
and I read online that the vibe was popping. They had a nice DJ, and I went there. Oh, it was so much fun. They had a DJ. It felt like a club at a restaurant. They had a time when they brought shots around with the
What's the name?
fireworks and
What's the
everything.
name of it?
SDK,
SDK. Got you.
T. So Sam,
STK.
Tom, Kite.
Got you.
SDK. Yeah.
STK. Got you.
It was a lot of fun, but they did not have vegan options. So luckily the atmosphere made up for the lack of vegan options. And I actually went there again, knowing that it was going to be lacking. So sometimes I might eat ahead of time. It's not the end of the world for me if I don't get satisfied at a restaurant. I'll come home and we have a huge pantry. There's always something here. So for
Mhm.
me, um, the fact that I'm at a restaurant that doesn't have vegan options, it gives me the opportunity to request them and talk to them about that and maybe put something together and challenge the chef back there to make something.
Yeah.
So I take it as an opportunity, but 90% of the time it is not hard for me to eat vegan when I go out.
Okay. Alright.
So what are some of the positive effects
Yeah, I was
that you
gonna
that,
ask
that
that.
you've yeah
Yeah.
that you can say that you've I guess you've experienced since becoming a vegan?
So I was never a huge coffee drinker, but there were times when I felt like I had to.
Hmm.
Like I needed coffee pretty much every day to function. And when it was like stress, like I remember I got a new high pressure marketing job and training was brutal. And so I was drinking coffee every single day just to be able to stay awake and take that. So one of the initial things was having more energy. Um,
Okay, I need
Not
that.
like I could have a green smoothie in the morning and that would be enough for me. Um, I lost weight. I lost 25 pounds when the first time I initially went vegan. And
And that was just strictly changing your diet alone, like, it was no
it
extra
was strictly changing my
exercising?
diet
I
alone.
was
Wow,
just about
that's
to ask that.
crazy.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that.
So now when I hit 30, the weight seemed to stay on. So I do exercise now. Especially since I consider myself a junk food vegan anyways. So you do have to eat right, to be able to not exercise. But I've seen so many posts on social media of people, really obese people, trying just veganism for 30 days and losing weight without dieting because weight loss really starts in the kitchen. It doesn't start in the
Mhm.
gym, it starts in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I did benefit from weight loss and having more energy. Um, I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. I feel better about what I eat. I'm more conscious about what's on the labels. And I do eat junk food, but at least I'm aware of it and I balance it. I eat vegetables. I try to have a balanced diet. Um, and I don't know. I just feel I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what's to come. There's a lot of innovation in the vegan space as far as
Mhm.
cell replication. For people that do want that texture of meat without actually having to have animal cruelty. It's becoming really unnecessary to do that. So there's a lot of innovation, and I'm excited to be an entrepreneur in this space that's really going to have a lot of the market share down the line. So there are health benefits to it. There are conscious benefits to it as far as being more aware of what's out there and educating people. But I feel like I finally found a purpose. One of the things,
Okay.
reasons why I left Christianity is just I didn't feel a connection to the to a purpose to myself. I felt like I was following something as I was told to, but it didn't necessarily resonate with me. Um, there's plenty of my family members that are still Christian. I love it. If that's something that connects you, to the divine, to your purpose, then absolutely go ahead. But I feel like veganism is almost one of my religions. It's something that
Mhm.
I hold near and dear to my heart, and I feel like it's a purpose for us to move forward because I believe in reincarnation, and I would not want to come back when I see these turkeys. Like I just saw the video, and I'm not gonna cry, but I saw the video of what they did to some of these turkeys, and it's like, I would not want to come back into life as a turkey and have to live my life conscious, just in the dark and filth. Like it's awful. Like these are smart beings, and what we do to them is utterly disgusting. So because I do believe in, the afterlife and that you could come back, energy never dies, it only recycles, you could come back. as a cow, that is constantly forcefully impregnated, to have children and then have them ripped from her the second they're born.
Mm, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
No,
Nah, I
it
got
did,
you.
and it
You
opened my perspective. I'm sorry, Tyler, to cut you off. It's just like, cause
nah,
I
you
mean,
good, bro.
honestly, like I just don't think about those things, in my day to day life, But that's something that really all need to consider, man. Like they're living being as well, So and it's like you said, it's like it's all for gain, the money that can be made from the products from the animals, but they have consciousness too or feelings too. So yeah, that's something we should consider.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, we I feel like in life, man, there's always like something that we just kind of gloss over,
Mhm.
because it's just the way things have always been done.
Mhm.
Um, but then there are people like you who come and share your experience and share your perspective with the world, and you kind of force us to see things
Yeah.
in a different light. So,
Just with
again,
your
I
passion
appreciate you.
behind it, it's like,
Exactly.
man, I really need to rethink,
I
how.
really, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, because that's true. I'm big on, obviously, with humans, but I should probably do this in other areas. I'm big on like putting myself in other people's shoes, to see, if my actions toward them, if I would have felt a certain way toward them, right?
Mhm.
And if I were to do that to an animal, I don't know what I would do if I had my kids ripped away from me,
Yeah.
or if I was, in this, born and raised in this, slaughterhouse, and raised and bred for one reason, and that was to make, other people rich. You know what I mean? I don't know what I would do in that situation. So I'm glad that you shared your experience, and your emotions, because that's big.
Yeah.
Change comes from people who truly care. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And you've clearly shown that you truly care about, about this whole thing, man. So, definitely, I'm gonna, think about that going forward. And I don't know, when or if it's gonna be an instant change, but it's definitely something I'm gonna keep in mind,
Yeah.
because that's real.
And
What you
I mean, a
said.
lot of times it just takes that one little seed, man. And, of course, we won't transition. It's the first thing we wake up in the morning, but I'm gonna always remember, like, man, like that really affected her. So let me think about it from my perspective. So I can just
Exactly.
start transition. Making that thoughtful process. Each and every day, man, and just consider other things, other beings than just myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we
Mhm.
appreciate it.
And
So
then
I mean,
real quick before you move on, because
mhm.
I've been hearing you say this a lot, but I still don't know what it means. Junk, a
Food vegan.
junk food vegan. What is that? Can you explain that a little bit?
Um, there's a group of vegans that, are so vegan for the animals. As long as the package says it is vegan, we don't care what else is in that food.
Okay, I got you.
So it could necessarily not be as healthy as it should be, but
It's
it's not an animal
right. It
byproduct.
is more than likely unhealthy,
Okay.
highly processed,
Mm,
lots of sugar, maybe high on the sodium.
mm,
So, yeah, it's probably unhealthy. Now, I do consider myself a junk food vegan, but I do eat healthy as well. But I appreciate going down to Voodoo Donut off of Colfax and getting a vegan jelly donut. When I go out to eat, I'm not asking what the calorie intake is. I'm just asking
Okay.
if it's vegan. So yeah, there's just people that really look to see if it's vegan or not. And even though because there's not as many vegan options as there are for animal-based products. Um, we just want to check to see if it doesn't have dairy or anything else in it, and we just want something that tastes good, you know,
Mhm.
because yes, there are just like there are animal-based products. I mean, I'm sure you've had a horrible steak or a tough piece of chicken or something like that.
mhm.
There are vegan, restaurants out there that are not good. If I wasn't a vegan entrepreneur myself, I would be a vegan critic, and I would really go in on somebody's places. But I choose not to. I might message them and give them feedback, but I choose not to bash them on a larger scale like I would if I wasn't a business owner. But
I
yeah,
got
there's
you.
good and bad food. So as long as it tastes good, that's what a junk food vegan cares about.
Okay.
Mm, that's important.
Yeah.
Super
All right.
important.
So you did mention that you are a vegan entrepreneur. So that means, we got to start talking about the money.
Of course.
Tyler,
You know,
favorite subject.
of course.
So
I love business. Love it.
yeah. So give us your spiel on the business that you do have.
Yeah. So I own Serein Naturals. It is a collection of vegan hair, face, and skincare products for all. We focus on using the power of plants to keep you nourished, hydrated, and just enhance the look and health of your temple. Right now, we have almost 20 products. It's just me doing the manufacturing. So, in order for me to really scale the business coming in 2022, I may make cuts on some of the bottom 4 or 5 products so I can really drive those top selling products in
Mm-hmm.
2022. It started with one product, hair gold, but when you have one product and it works, people start asking for more. And at one point, I had 30 products, but that was a lot. I used
Mm-hmm.
to focus on making custom products for a particular customer situation. I had a complete, I would say, library of herbs and oils and butters and essential oils, but it just got too costly to carry everything and make custom products for every single person. So right now I'll customize for allergies, but I'm not making any like new products just for one-off customers. So
Okay.
hair gold, that product I started after I moved from Michigan to Georgia. I lived in Atlanta for 3 years, and when I moved, I really didn't have a village out in Georgia. I had a new high pressure marketing promotion that I was focused on. I had my son and then my son's father, who is not my husband, but we weren't together at the time. We moved together, but then 5 months after we moved to Georgia, he gets an offer in Denver to work for Kaiser. So I'm like a single mom with no village in a
Mm-hmm.
new high pressure job, and my hair started falling out. At the time, I had first locked my hair in October of 2013. And anytime I got some length in my locks, they would thin out and break off. And so I ended up having to shave half the side of my head. Luckily, Rihanna did it at the same time, so it looked like it was a trend. But I was like, okay, if I'm gonna really grow my hair back healthy and strong, I need to do my research. So I was already an essential oil consultant for a company called doTERRA, learning how essential oils can replace pharmaceutical drugs. So I knew there had to be something for hair. And in my research, I kept seeing the same 9 essential oils come up from a different array of reasons why my hair could be damaged and be breaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I just threw it all together. And over the course of that next year, I saw my hair come back to life. It was filling in where I didn't have any hair before. And so I started sharing with my friends and my family. And then I just made my own website, started doing some of the hair shows in Atlanta, and it just took off from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And then
dope.
I
That's
also
dope.
have another business, Angie's Vegan Cakes. So Serein started in 2016 in Georgia.
Hold on,
Yeah.
real quick before you go into that, because I need to tell. Hold on, let me
Yeah.
grab the mic.
Okay.
I need to tell the people, man. Listen, we had this cake, right?
Yeah.
Whatever she finna say, it's not gonna do it
Yeah.
justice, man. That cake was so
Crazy.
moist, sweet. Man, it was amazing.
And you would not know that it was. I mean, I don't know exactly what all makes it
Listen,
vegan and not vegan, but it tasted like a cake I always
it
had.
was amazing.
It was good.
It was amazing. I just want you to know that, right? Like I was passionate about that cake, right? I wanted to take all the samples, but I was like, listen, I want other people to try this as well. But it was amazing. All right, go ahead and get into what you was about to say. I just had to say that first before you downplay whatever. Yeah. Go
Well,
ahead
that's one of
though.
the reasons I started is because being vegan out here, when birthdays come around, like back in 2017, I had tried to make my husband a birthday cake from home, and it
Mhm.
was a flat mess. Like it didn't rise, it was a mess, but it tasted good. And so I kind of knew I was onto something. So we remembered that taste, and then birthdays would roll around. I'd spend top dollar for vegan cakes out here in Colorado, and it just didn't taste good. They were pretty, they were great for a photo, but then we'd cut one slice and it would get wasted and thrown away. And so during the time I successfully made a cake that not only tasted good but it looked good, was last year during the beginning of COVID in February of 2020. And at that time, Serein's business had slowed down because the markets, the pop-ups were closed. Like that's
Yeah.
primarily where I would get my revenue from, is being out in the streets doing events, and all of that stopped. And so once I had my husband try it, and then I took some to my friends and they loved it, they started hiring me to make cakes. So
Mhm.
they would just say, "Hey, how much would you charge for this?" I'd charge them, bring the cake, it would be a hit. They start sharing word of mouth. I get calls. So then I just created a Instagram page and started posting my cakes, hashtagging like crazy. And it just grew from there. And it kind of supplemented the revenue that I had lost from Serein while I was figuring out how to change the business model from in-person local markets to online retail e-commerce. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
luckily I figured that out, and I'm still working on building that. But now I have this other business that the feedback that I get is similar to that,
Yeah.
that, finally a cake that tastes delicious, that's pretty. I am not a trained baker, in any form of the aspect. Like I see other bakers, and what they do with the cakes are so beautiful. Like I'm like, can I just build the cake and then you decorate it? Like I would love
Yeah.
to do that. So I'm trying to figure out how to scale Andy's vegan cakes. Like, do I go and sell them in stores? Do I maybe make cake mixes and teach people how to do it at home? Like, I'm really at that time where I'm trying to figure out where to take Angie's cakes. But I love having products that go on your body on the outside and products that go in. So I kind of eventually want to see what else I can do being a vegan
Hey,
entrepreneur.
yeah, so you can handle it from both ends,
I'm
okay? So
telling you.
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. But
Listen, the food is amazing. I just can't let that go over people's head, man. That cake was amazing. Okay, so please, if you're in Denver or if you're in, I'm here in Colorado Springs.
Well, I do ship. So I ship cake jars.
Okay,
The jars that I shown, I have shipped them back home to
okay.
Michigan, one to Georgia, some here, people local like Longmont, that's like an hour away. So
Mhm.
I can ship cake jars. I just not ready to ship whole cakes because being a vegan cake, that means no eggs, no milk. And the eggs is usually what holds together, a traditional cake. There
Mhm.
are options, and I have successfully like played with those, but it's still a very soft and moist cake. So the
Mm-hmm.
cake that I did ship to Georgia, it was kind of flattened a little bit. So
Mm,
I
I got
haven't fully mastered how to ship a vegan cake. So we'll
Okay.
see.
you. Okay. So can you go ahead and plug your Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff in so people know where to buy from you
Yeah,
is
and your
one.
sites, yeah.
And then
Mhm.
all of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So you can Google or go on Instagram and just type in Angie's Vegan Cakes and you'll find me. There's a link in my Instagram bio, and I believe it's on Google where you can click to book a cake. You can also call me with questions before you book if it's a custom cake or wedding cake. But you can find me, yeah, Google, Instagram, Angie's Vegan Cakes. And Serein is Serein, is actually in the dictionary as a word. Serein means light rain falling from the sky with no clouds in sight. So it's something I hadn't
Mm,
experienced. So I went to
that's dope.
Hawaii, and it's a clear blue sky, and all of a sudden I feel rain on me, and
Mhm.
it's like, where's this coming from? So we're all about,
That's dope.
we're hydration rains, hydrating your
Mhm.
body and sealing that in with moisturizing products. So Serein Naturals with an S. It's sereignnaturals.com. That's where you can order and have it shipped to you. We also have a blog and more information about the company. You can go on Facebook. Most of our reviews are on Facebook, so Serein Naturals on Facebook, and then we're also on Instagram.
Okay.
So what are the next steps for Serein and Angie's vegan cakes and pies and whatnot? What's the next steps?
So
Where do you
my
see yourself
dream,
5 years from now? Actually, that's a better
Yeah,
question.
with
yeah.
both, yeah.
So I see Angie's Vegan Cakes having some type of like either kiosk or more efficient online sales where I have a team of people that are baking for me, shipping out cake jars and baking locally to have in stores. I've already been approached by a store. I just have to finish my wholesale license so that I can sell in their stores. So I see Angie's Cakes. I see potentially a cookbook. For Serein, I definitely see 5 years from now having a storefront. One of my goals is to have a zero waste market. I'm not a huge fan of shipping Serein because it's glass, it's sustainable packaging. I'm trying to find like a bamboo option or something that's sustainable that doesn't break in transit, because the United States Postal Service is disrespectful with my packages.
Listen, we are
We know.
currently dealing with that right now. So
We
yeah, we know all
understand
about
that
that.
all too well. Yeah.
Yeah, very
So,
disrespectful. So,
yeah.
I would love to have a zero waste market storefront where people can come in and buy in bulk, bring their own containers, fill up on the oils, fill up on shampoo, and just go from there. And then if they want to ship it to their friends and their family, then they can figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
That's
So I
dope.
would love to have, yeah, a zero waste storefront. But also I love the food space, so I could see it being a zero waste storefront with a restaurant, cafe, just having like a localized space. And I have a vision for it. I just need a like an artist to design the like conception for it, so I can start
Hmm.
pitching for funding for it. But I definitely see a storefront, and I see myself branching out to other vegan aspects. So I'm just trying to do my research and figure out where the gaps are right now in the vegan industry, what we have a need for, and seeing what my talents are if I can fill those spaces. So some of it I know, some of it I feel like will come to me soon.
Okay.
Man, that's dope, man.
Well, okay, Tyler. So I have a last question. Also, is okay. You spoke on where you see your business going in the next 5 years, but I want to know, where do you see Angela Wells going in the next 5 years, and what's your ultimate goal that you want to accomplish? You know what I'm saying, like in your life journey, whether it be in 5 years or towards the end of your life.
Yeah. I want to travel more. I want to see the world. Being an entrepreneur, when you travel, when you take a vacation, you're basically losing money. I can't make cakes. I can't ship orders. I have to pause shipping because it's just me. So, wanting to have a team where I can focus more on traveling and seeing the world. And also, I have a passion for writing. I want to be an author. I want to write a book, fiction, and so I have all these ideas, and I really just want my businesses to be running, automatically on their own, so that I can focus on writing more, my passions, and traveling and seeing the world and just being inspired.
Mm, okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
dope.
dope. That's super dope, man. I
Mhm.
like that, man. Because you don't see many people of our complexion, wanting and willing to be a writer. So I always thought that was pretty dope to see or hear someone actually want to be. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I think that's super dope, man. And I feel like we all have a story to tell.
Yeah.
That could potentially benefit someone else.
Hmm.
So if you have that will and you have that want to write a book, you should definitely do that.
Go,
And
go
listen, I'll be the
forward.
first to buy it.
I was about to
Well, I
I'll be
say
the
see
that.
first to buy it, man.
my dream job is kind of, I've always felt like if I ended up selling Serein or selling my company, that I would want to
Mhm.
be kept on as a creative director. I'm a true Pisces, I have a huge imagination, I'm very passionate and creative. So that's the fun part for me. Like I feel like I'm wearing all the hats of the business when really my ultimate goal is to just wear the hat of being a creative director.
Mm,
Mhm.
I
So
understand
it
that.
sounds like you need your business to be more automated
Yeah.
Definitely,
versus,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So have you ever considered, and this is just something I just kind of thought of, setting up multiple like vending machines, right? In the Denver area, Colorado, wherever,
Yeah.
and placing your uh your cakes, your cakes that are, how you have them set up in the glass and
Yeah.
all that stuff in those vending machines.
And the
'Cause
beauty
that'll allow
products
you
as
to
well.
be,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, the beauty product, because that'll allow you to be anywhere and still continue to make money.
Yeah. So right now, I have not considered vending machines. I have considered having a kiosk at the mall,
Hmm.
excuse me,
You
where
know,
people can
okay,
come in and pick up. So that's something that I'm looking into. But my goal right now to scale Serein Naturals is to go into beauty supply stores, local boutiques, zero waste markets that are already existing, and
okay,
sell wholesale. So I kind of want to move from um, primarily direct to consumer and focus on business to business and do wholesale.
okay.
So we will
That
see
makes
how that
sense.
goes this year.
That
All
makes
right.
sense, man. Well, listen, we rooting for you on the show, man.
Yeah.
We rooting for you because we can't wait to a year or 2 years from now, to say that, listen, we had her on here, man, and she
Hey.
discussed, what she's actually doing right now, man. So,
Mhm.
nah, man, we rooting for you, and if you need anything from us, man,
Yeah.
we here. We're a phone
Yeah.
call,
Let us know.
email, DM away.
Hmm.
So,
Thank you.
salute to you. Listen, this has been an amazing episode. One
Favorite.
My favorite. My favorite because he always laughs at me because I always say that the latest episode we do is always my favorite because you know I love learning. You know what I mean? So when someone teaches me something, I don't know, it's a different feeling. You know what I mean? And I've never looked at animals the way that you just made me look at them. So no, definitely,
we appreciate it.
It's definitely one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite, and I appreciate you for sharing your insight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we thank you for your time, man. It's been Uncharted Mind. We're gonna sign off.
Signing off, man. Peace.
Right.